Hi, my name is Trey, and I'll be your instructor for the upcoming breathing seminar that will be held on Saturday, May the 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. I just wanted to take a moment and introduce myself and give you maybe a couple of reasons to consider for attending that seminar. I'm going to share my screen and show you one of my first mentors in the breathing space. I'll introduce you to him first and then introduce myself. This guy's name is Stig Severinsen. He was a free diver, is a free diver, a world-class free diver, and ultimately he trained for multiple years. I think it was 4 years to increase his lung capacity from the normal lung capacity for a male of 6 to 7 liters to 14 liters. And he engaged in that process and that training so that he could go for the Guinness World Record, which you see him doing on the right over there. So the idea is on a single breath of air, putting your face in the water. How long can you hold your breath? And he set the world record in 2012, holding his breath for 22 minutes. Someone has since broken that record, holding their breath for 24 minutes. That's an astounding accomplishment. So the question is, how in the world did he do that? And why does this matter at all? First and foremost, when I see people who do something like this, I always think, I have no desire to become a world record holder in holding my breath in free diving, but to me, there's something to learn from people who are doing things like this. And one of the things to learn from Stig is how did he increase his lung capacity? Because we know that lung capacity, based on the Framingham study, which is the longest running study ever conducted, has been going for 75 years now, that lung capacity is the number one indicator of health and longevity over the course of your lifespan. Okay. And it's especially important as we're getting older. So, what in the world does that have to do with Stig Severinsen? When he went from a 6 to 7 liter capacity to 14 liters, he ultimately increased his lung capacity to the point that he could do this incredible feat. And he did that using the same exercises that you're going to learn on May the 17th. A little bit about me, real quick. I'm a third degree black belt in Krav Maga. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I have a master's degree in education with an emphasis in behavior analysis. I've been doing Krav Maga now for almost 20 years. And yeah, I've been meditating since I was 18. I'm 48 now. And I recently, in the last 6 years, got into the breathing space. And my number one wish is that I would have focused on that 30 years ago at this point. I'm showing you this slide just to show you the meditation and breathing in particular certifications that I've received over the course of several years. Some people are curious about this. I find the reason I ended up working with multiple organizations is because I find that each organization has a different way of approaching breathing, and they all have their value, and I appreciate all of them. One of my mentors is Dr. Belisa Vranich. She developed the assessment that we're going to be doing on that day. The moment you arrive, we're going to assess your breathing. I can tell you, we did this breathing seminar at Krav Maga Houston recently. There were 21 attendees, and not a single one of them walked through the room and got an A on that assessment. Everybody had room for progress, and the vast majority of them made substantial, significant progress by the time the 3 hours was up. Dr. Belisa Vranich has this quote that I love: how you are breathing or holding your breath directly affects your nervous system more than anything else you do, more than your positive self-talk, your therapy sessions addressing your fear of success, or donning your lucky underwear. She is a PhD in psychology, by the way. We are the only mammals on the planet that I'm aware of that change the way we breathe. And it's at about 5.5 years old when we transfer into school, into kindergarten, first grade, that type of thing. And then we establish new breathing habits that we don't realize are affecting not only our well-being, but in particular, our athletic performance over the course of time. We're not getting near as much out of our performance as we possibly could. So there was an interesting study conducted in 2022 on Japanese athletes. There were 1,900 athletes, and I think it was 1,922 athletes, ultimately from a wide age range. They were looking at elementary level all the way to collegiate level athletes. And they did the same type of breathing assessment that we're going to do on May 17th. And 91% of those athletes were breathing in a way that was considered aberrant, which means they weren't breathing correctly, and it was directly affecting their performance. In fact, only 9% of the athletes breathed in the proper place in the body. And so we're going to be talking about all this. First and foremost, we're going to talk about location of breathing. Where on the body should you be breathing? It's not upper chest. It's not belly breathing, like maybe you've heard from certain experts, right? So we're going to be talking about that. That's first and foremost. Second, what are the exercises to gain the flexibility in the rib cage that you need to be able to get the biggest breath when it's necessary? And finally, how do we strengthen those breathing muscles? Because it is the strengthening of those muscles that is actually one of the most important variables. You may not know this. There's something called the metaboreflex. This is an incredible reflex that when you engage in a workout, you start to feel heavy. Your arms and your legs feel heavy and sluggish. Psychologically, we think that that's because we're working so hard. But in fact, that's not the case. What's happening is your breathing muscles are getting tired because the vast majority of us never think about exercising our breathing muscles like we do the rest of our body. So what happens is when those breathing muscles get tired, in order to bring more blood to those muscles so that they don't give out, your body literally shunts blood away from your extremities, your arms and your legs. So that heavy feeling isn't because you were working hard or I was working hard. It's because we haven't strengthened our breathing muscles. And the breathing muscles are literally stealing blood. They call it blood stealing from the rest of the body, the muscles that we're trying to work out and get stronger. I hope this inspires you to register for the seminar. I can't wait to meet all of you and to be your coach that day. I promise it is going to be a great time. You're going to get a lot of skills that you can walk away with on that day that you can immediately apply into your training in Krav Maga as well as your fitness training. So I hope to see you soon. Take good care.